Microsoft Excel Vlookup function. Vlookup is an Excel function to look up and retrieve data from a specific column in a table. Vlookup supports approximate and exact matching and wildcards, the asterisk or the question mark, for partial matches. The V stands for vertical. Lookup values must appear in the first column of the table with lookup columns to the right. The purpose is to look up a value in a table by matching on the first column, and it will return a match value from the table. So the syntax is as follows: equals in Excel, then the function name Vlookup. The brackets inside is the different parameters. The first one is value, followed by the table, followed by the column index number and the range lookup. So the arguments, the value is the value that you look for in the first column of the table. Table is from which you retrieve the value. Column index, the column in the table from which to retrieve the value. That will be a number. I'll show you an example. And then the range lookup, it's optional. If you don't supply the range lookup, it will by default use true. It means an approximate match. False needs to find exactly the value that you are looking for. In this example, I will show you how to use Vlookup in basically a second table. So we will not only be using autofill as well, but we'll use it in as approximate match, as well as the table is located on a second sheet. So you won't find a more difficult example of Vlookup than this. So we are going to use our mark, and on the second sheet we've got a table here, and as you can see, between 0 and 30 it's gonna give you a 1, the result, and then from 30 to 40 a 2, and so forth. And when you get an 80 or above, it will distribute or show a 70 or find a 70. So as always, we're going to start our function equals Vlookup. The lookup value, I'm going to look up the mark, so that's my lookup value. And very important now is when we go over to the table, it's on a second sheet. You should not come back to this first sheet. I know the urge is there to come back, but you have all the information needed on the second sheet to complete your function. Once you press enter for your function, it will automatically return to the first sheet. So please don't move it back, because that's the common mistake that's being made, and that messes up your function. So I press comma, now the table, so I need to go to my second sheet. Then I highlight it. Very important, I now need to apply absolute cell reference, or I need to lock it, so I need to press F4 on the keyboard. Now I've got all the dollar signs. That means my table won't shift, so as I'm going to use autofill, it will stay the same A2 to B8, my range. So I press comma, column index number. Again, I've made it easy for us. I count column 1, column 2, which one contains the answer I'm looking for, the value that I want to return. That is in 2. And then now in this one, I want to have an approximate match. That means I want to have the value to search between 0 and 30. It will give me 1. Between 30 and 40, it will give me a 2. So this is not an exact match, it's an approximate match. So I need to type 2, close the bracket, and as you see now, the moment I'm going to press enter, I will go back where I've typed my function, and I get the rating scale of 7 for 100. When I click on that one there, I use my mouse cursor, go to the corner, you'll see there's a little green square there, and then I can either double click or just drag it down, and my function has adjusted, and you can see that according to how it should be, it is working 100%. And the only thing that changed, if we look in the value, it is just changing the mark. So if I go there, C11, and I'm looking up for that one, but the actual table stayed 100% the same.